The gravity well of forgotten worlds. The universe was full of mysteries, but none were as strange as the place known as the gravity well of forgotten worlds. It was a region of space where abandoned planets drifted in endless silence, trapped by a force no one fully understood. Some said it was a natural anomaly. Others believed it was the graveyard of civilizations that vanished before humans even learned language. Most people avoided it. Only the desperate, the curious, or the foolish went near it. And then there were the explorers of the starship Aurora's Edge. For them, the gravity well was not only a mystery. It was a warning, a challenge, a story waiting to be uncovered. They believed that every forgotten world held memories, and that memories, no matter how buried, had a way of returning. This is the story of their journey. A story of what they found. And a story of what found them. Captain Lyra Vance stood at the bridge window of the Aurora's Edge, watching the endless starfield ahead. Her dark hair floated lightly in the artificial gravity, and her eyes remained fixed on the shifting patterns of light. Behind her, the crew worked quietly, each one aware of the immense responsibility placed on their shoulders. The ship hummed with energy. The engines glowed with soft blue light. A sense of calm filled the air. But beneath that calm, Lyra felt something else. A pull. Not physical, but psychological. A strange instinct telling her that the mission ahead would change everything. "Captain," said First Officer Jalen Reese, stepping beside her. "We're approaching the border of the anomaly." Lyra nodded. "Slow us to sublight speed. I want full scans before we cross." "Yes, Captain." Jalen turned to the crew, issuing commands. The ship smoothly decelerated, and the stars outside the windows stretched into stillness. Behind them, Dr. Elira Kale, the ship's chief scientist, watched the readings on her console. Her silver eyes were sharp, analytical, and full of fascination. "It's stronger than expected," she murmured. "The gravitational signatures are layered. Complex. Almost deliberate." Lyra turned toward her. "Are you suggesting someone created this?" "I'm suggesting it's possible," Dr. Kale replied. "The universe is old, Captain. Very old. There are structures out there built by civilizations we will never know. Some might be billions of years gone." Lyra looked out the window again. The gravity well shimmered faintly like a curtain of distorted light. "We'll know soon enough," she said quietly. The Aurora's Edge entered the outskirts of the gravity well with caution. The ship's hull trembled as the outer gravitational waves brushed against it. Lights flickered for a brief moment, then steadied again. "Shields holding at 98%, Engineer Mara Jin reported. "We can move deeper, but I recommend maintaining a slow approach." "Do it," Lyra ordered. The ship continued forward. The stars outside began to warp, their shapes stretching and bending. The distortion was beautiful and unsettling at the same time. "It feels like the universe is folding in on itself," Jalen said softly. "That's exactly what's happening," Dr. Kale answered. "Gravity here behaves almost artistically." "Artistically?" Jalen raised an eyebrow. Dr. Kale smiled faintly. "If black holes paint with destruction, then this place paints with memory. Something is holding these worlds here, binding them to this region. Not killing them. Just keeping them." Ahead of them, the dark shapes of planets came into view. Drifting. Silent. Alone. Each world looked different, some cracked and broken, others strangely preserved. Some glowed with faint light, as if frozen in the moment of their last sunrise. "These planets are from different star systems," Mara said in disbelief. "Some of these formations, they shouldn't even be in this quadrant of the galaxy." "They aren't," Dr. Kale replied. "They were brought here." A quiet filled the bridge. "Captain," Jalen said slowly. "Who, or what, brings worlds into a place like this?" Lyra did not answer, but her heart beat faster. The Aurora's Edge moved toward one of the nearest planets, an emerald world with swirling clouds and shattered continents. Scanning surface, Dr. Kale said. "It's breathable. Abandoned. Signs of ancient structures, but no active life." "Prepare an away team," Lyra ordered. "We'll investigate." Within the hour, Lyra, Jalen, Dr. Kale, and 2 other crew members, Scout Tiva Oren and Engineer Mara Jin, descended to the planet's surface in a landing shuttle. The shuttle touched down on cracked stone. Dust blew gently across the landscape. The air smelled faintly metallic. They stepped outside. The sky above was greenish-blue, with streaks of violet light. Strange crystals jutted from the ground, shimmering softly as if responding to their presence. What happened here?
Tiva asked.
Massive tectonic energy, Mara replied.
Not natural. Something tore this world apart.
Dr. Kale knelt beside a cracked slab of stone. She brushed away dust, revealing symbols carved into the surface.
These markings, she whispered.
They are not just writing. They are warning.
Lyra approached.
Can you read them? Only pieces, Dr. Kale said. But the message is clear enough.
She looked up at the captain.
They wanted future travelers to stay away. Jalen scanned the horizon. Stay away from what? As if answering him, the ground trembled beneath their feet. A deep, low pulse echoed in the air. Not sound, pressure.
Like the heartbeat of the planet itself. Mara's scanner blared suddenly. Captain.
A gravitational surge is building beneath us.
Before they could react, the ground cracked open.
A bright column of energy shot upward, spiraling into the sky.
Dr. Kale staggered back. This world still remembers.
The structures, the symbols, they are linked to the gravity field. Everyone to the shuttle.
Lyra shouted.
They ran, dust rising around them as the energy pulse grew brighter.
The planet was waking, remembering, and calling something.
The shuttle lifted off just as the ground exploded with glowing fissures. From orbit, the Aurora's edge watched as the entire planet pulsed like a giant beacon. Captain, we're receiving a signal, the comm officer said. It's not radio. It's gravitational. Dr. Kale's eyes widened. It's transmitting through the gravity field. Can we decode it?
Lyra asked.
We can try. The signal repeated again and again, deep, rhythmic, and full of layered tones. Then, slowly, the computer translated the first line. We are the worlds that were forgotten. Do not forget us again. A silence heavier than gravity fell across the ship. And deep within the gravity well, something answered the signal. The bridge of the Aurora's edge was silent as the gravitational message continued to pulse across their systems. Every repetition felt deeper, heavier, as if the words pressed directly into their minds. Jalen leaned forward, his voice low. Captain, it sounds almost alive. Dr. Kale nodded. Gravitational communication this complex shouldn't be possible without a massive intelligence behind it. This isn't background noise. This is language. Language from a dead world.
Mara asked.
Not dead, Dr. Kale corrected quietly. Forgotten. Lyra folded her arms, her thoughts racing. Replay the last decoded segment. The computer obeyed, and the translation appeared in glowing letters on the main screen. We are the remnants.
We are the unremembered. Do not awaken the Keeper. Tiva inhaled sharply.
The Keeper?
Who, or what, is that?
Whatever it is, Jalen said. The planet we just scanned was trying to warn us about it. Lyra turned toward Dr. Kale. Is the signal coming from that planet alone?
No, she replied.
Multiple worlds are transmitting. The entire gravity well is speaking. A cold weight settled on the captain's chest. They had stepped into a graveyard of worlds, and the graveyard was whispering. The ship shuddered suddenly. Lights flickered. Controls dimmed. Report. Lyra commanded. Mara's fingers flew over her console. The gravitational field around us is moving. Jalen frowned. Moving? Like a storm.
No, she whispered.
Like something is adjusting, positioning itself. Tiva checked the long-range sensors.
We have movement on the far side of the well. Something massive.
Lyra stepped closer. Massive how?
The scout swallowed. Planet-sized.
Maybe larger. The screen filled with a faint image, something dark, round, and covered in swirling layers of dust and broken structures. It rotated slowly, like a world half-formed, half-destroyed.
But the eerie part wasn't the appearance. It was the way it moved. Not drifting like the others. Not pulled by gravity. It moved with purpose. Dr. Kale's voice trembled with awe.
Captain, that may be the Keeper.
No one spoke for several seconds.
Finally, Lyra said, Bring us closer, but keep a safe distance. I want details. The Aurora's edge adjusted course, gliding through the distorted light. As they neared the dark shape, more features became visible. Structures, massive towers, bridges, and fragments of cities floated around it, orbiting like shattered moons.
What happened to it? Tiva whispered.
Mara exhaled slowly. It looks like countless worlds smashed into it over millions of years. Like it's collecting them.
Jalen stiffened.
Or feeding on them. A deep, resonant hum filled the ship.
Vibrations rippled through the floor.
The air felt heavier, pressing against their lungs.
Captain, the comm officer whispered.
The anomaly is projecting a directed gravitational wave at us.
Lyra's eyes widened.
Is it an attack?
No, Dr. Kale said.
It's scanning us.
The hum grew louder. Panels shook.
The lights dimmed again. Then the translation console flickered to life with a new message.
Another world approaches. Another memory enters the well.
Lyra felt a chill run through her.
It thinks we're a world, Jalen said.
It doesn't understand ships, Tiva added. It only deals with planets.
The humming abruptly stopped. Then a second message appeared. You are not a world. You are an echo.
You do not belong.
The Keeper's surface shifted. A massive crack opened across its dark crust. A glowing fissure pulsed like a waking eye.
The comm officer shouted, gravitational pull increasing. It's drawing us in. Full reverse.
Lyra ordered. Mara slammed the controls. Engines roared.
The ship strained, metal creaking. It's too strong.
Mara cried.
We can't break free. The fissure widened, glowing brighter. Energy swirled around the Keeper like a vortex of starlight and debris. It's consuming gravity itself, Dr. Kale whispered. It's feeding.
The bridge vibrated violently. Sparks flew from a console. Jalen grabbed Lyra's arm.
Captain, we need to break orbit before it.
Everything stopped.
The shaking.
The alarms. The humming. Silence.
Then the message console lit up again with a new line. Speak your purpose.
Lyra stepped forward.
Open vocal link.
Jalen hesitated. Are you sure, Captain?
We don't know how it will respond.
We can't escape, she said calmly.
The only way out is communication.
Dr. Kale nodded.
It's logical. The Keeper understands language in some form.
It may respond.
Tiva whispered, or destroy us. Lyra ignored the fear around her and faced the glowing fissure on the screen. This is Captain Lyra Vance of the starship Aurora's Edge, she said.
We are explorers.
We entered the gravity well to understand its purpose. For a moment, nothing happened.
Then the Keeper replied. Purpose. All worlds have purpose.
Yours is not yet fulfilled.
Lyra frowned.
What does that mean?
Another message appeared. You seek knowledge. Knowledge requires memory.
Memory requires sacrifice.
Jalen blanched.
Sacrifice? Captain. But before anyone could react, the Keeper expanded its gravitational field.
Space warped around the ship. The stars outside the window stretched like threads pulled across time.
Dr. Kale shouted, It's opening something, a corridor, a passage.
Tiva gasped.
No, it's opening a memory. A beam of shimmering energy enveloped the ship.
Colors shifted.
Shapes dissolved. Everyone on board felt the same sensation. As if their minds were falling into someone else's dream.
And then, they were no longer on the bridge.
They stood in a vast, dusty plain under a red sky. Broken towers lay scattered like bones. A cold wind swept across the ruins. Jalen turned in disbelief. This isn't real. It's a memory, Dr. Kale whispered. A memory of a forgotten world.
A voice echoed across the plain. Not from the Keeper, but from the world itself.
This is what we were. This is what you must understand. And the memory deepened, pulling them further in. The red sky above them looked bruised, stretched thin, as if the memory of this world was barely holding itself together. The wind carried dust that sparkled faintly, as though fragments of the past drifted in the air.
Lyra stepped forward cautiously. The ground crunched beneath her boots. Everyone stay close. This is not a hologram. It feels solid.
It is solid, Dr. Kale said. We are inside an active gravitational memory. The Keeper is showing us what happened here. Jalen stared at a toppled tower whose base was melted, not broken. Something catastrophic hit this place.
Mara examined a piece of rubble.
This isn't natural collapse. The entire city looks like it was pulled inward, toward a central point.
Tiva checked her scanner.
I'm picking up energy readings in that direction.
They moved through the ruins.
Broken roads curled upward like frozen waves. Half-fused stones suggested impossible temperatures. Old machines lay twisted, their metal stretched like soft clay. This world died in a gravitational event, Dr. Kale murmured.
But not a collapse.
More like extraction. Extraction,
Lyra repeated.
something pulled the planet apart to take something from it.
A deep rumble shook the ground. The dust rose in swirling patterns. And the keeper's voice echoed faintly.
Remember what was taken. They followed the tremors until the ruins opened into a vast crater, miles wide, perfectly round, carved into the surface like a cosmic bite mark. At its center was a shimmering structure.
A machine.
Complex, elegant, still alive with faint energy. What is that?
Tiva whispered.
Dr. Kale's eyes widened.
A memory core. The heart of the civilization.
It stored everything: language, history, knowledge. This entire world's culture.
Mara knelt beside it.
Then why is it broken? Dr. Kale ran her fingers across the cracked surface. Because someone, or something, removed its power source.
Who? Jalen asked.
Before Dr. Kale could answer, the sky above split open with a flash of blinding white.
The ground rippled.
The ruins melted away. A new scene formed around them.
The same world, but alive. They now stood in the memory of the planet's past.
Towers glimmered with crystalline lights. Floating platforms drifted through the air. People, tall, luminous beings with translucent skin, walked the streets peacefully.
Tiva inhaled softly.
It's beautiful.
Dr. Kale looked overwhelmed. This species was highly advanced.
Their technology operated on gravitational harmonics. They shaped gravity the way humans shape electricity. Lyra noticed the same central structure as before, but whole and glowing with power.
That must be the memory core, she said.
A group of the luminous beings stood around it, speaking in soft harmonic tones. The translation matrix slowly began deciphering their speech. The Keeper approaches. Jalen froze. The Keeper existed even then?
More voices joined. We cannot stop it.
We can only hide what it seeks. Mara asked quietly. Hide what?
A council member placed a glowing sphere into the memory core.
The sphere pulsed with shifting colors. The translation continued. The heart of worlds must be preserved. If the Keeper consumes it, all memories will vanish.
Dr. Kale gasped.
The heart of worlds. It's a gravitational database. A source of shared memory across multiple civilizations. Why would the Keeper want it?
Tiva asked. Because the heart contains power, Dr. Kale replied.
Knowledge so deep it could reshape galaxies.
Suddenly the sky darkened. Towers trembled.
Alarms echoed across the city. A massive shape descended from the heavens. Dark, enormous, swirling with gravitational storms. The Keeper.
Before it was damaged. Before it was broken. It resembled a planet of pure shadow.
A world that ate other worlds.
The luminous citizens panicked.
Structures cracked under the pressure.
Streets folded inward like paper.
We need to get out of this memory.
Jalen shouted. But the memory wouldn't let them go. The scene froze. The world cracked.
The people screamed. And then everything shattered into white light. They landed back in the present, standing again in the ruined world under the red sky. Everyone breathed heavily, shaken.
Mara clutched her chest.
That thing. It destroys worlds to steal their memories. Dr. Kale nodded, pale. The Keeper wasn't always a destroyer. It was built by an ancient race to protect memories. But somewhere in its long existence, it changed. It began to crave more knowledge. More memory. More power. It became a collector. Collector.
Jalen echoed. Yes. It collects worlds and takes their histories. Their cultures. Their lives.
And when a world has nothing left to give, it collapses. Tiva whispered, so the gravity well is a prison for the worlds it consumed.
Lyra shook her head.
No, it's a museum.
A chilling silence passed between them.
Then the Keeper's voice echoed again.
You understand now. You see the hunger.
You see the purpose. Lyra clenched her fists. What do you want from us?
The answer came slowly. Your memory. Your world's memory.
Give it, freely. Jalen stepped forward defensively. We're not giving you anything.
But the Keeper did not respond to his anger.
Instead, A new gravitational pulse swept across the plane.
The ground cracked. The red sky rippled. The memory began to dissolve. Lyra's voice echoed through the fading world.
Return us to the ship. The Keeper whispered one last message before the memory collapsed.
You cannot leave.
Not until the exchange is complete.
And then, darkness.
They awoke on the floor of the ship's bridge, disoriented but alive.
Panels glowed dimly. Systems flickered back online.
Status report, Lyra ordered, her voice hoarse.
Mara checked the controls.
We're back in orbit, but the Keeper has locked us in a gravitational field.
Tiva stared at the window.
It's closer now.
The Keeper loomed in space like a dark star.
Jalen spoke quietly. It wants our world's memories, Captain. Dr. Kale added, it won't stop unless we give it something, or trick it. Lyra stood up slowly, determination hardening in her eyes.
Then we find another way out.
We didn't come here to become another forgotten world. The ship shook as the Keeper released another pulse. Begin the exchange.
Lyra pointed at Dr. Kale. Find out what it wants to take. Find out how to stop it.
And find out how many worlds it has already consumed. Dr. Kale nodded.
On it.
The gravity well darkened. The Keeper's fissure glowed brighter.
Time was running out.
The forgotten worlds were waiting. And so was the Keeper. The bridge dimmed as another gravitational ripple passed through the ship. Panels flickered weakly, as though struggling to resist the pressure from outside. Every second inside the well felt heavier, literally and emotionally. Dr. Kale typed rapidly at her console. I'm trying to isolate the Keeper's pattern of extraction. If we can understand how it pulls memories, we may learn how to block it.
Mara frowned.
Blocking a gravitational intelligence the size of a planet? Easy.
Tiva ignored the sarcasm.
Captain, we need a plan before it starts taking anything.
Jalen looked at Lyra. We're trapped in its field.
Escape isn't possible unless we weaken its hold.
Lyra's voice remained calm.
First, we understand it. Then we find its weakness. A soft chime came from Dr. Kale's console. I found something.
Everyone turned.
The Keeper uses multi-layered gravitational waves. Each wave extracts a specific type of memory: personal memory, historical memory, cultural memory, planetary memory.
Jalen raised an eyebrow.
You're saying it sorts memories like files?
Yes.
And each memory type corresponds to a different frequency.
She paused.
If we can disrupt those frequencies, we may be able to jam its extraction process.
Tiva leaned closer.
But wouldn't that anger it?
Probably, Kale admitted. Lyra nodded. Prepare a counterwave. Slowly. Quietly.
We don't want it to notice. Before anyone could continue, the Keeper's voice echoed again, directly through the ship. The exchange begins now. A sharp, cold wave cut through the bridge.
It wasn't sound. It wasn't pressure. It was more like part of each person's mind was being tugged.
Tiva grabbed her head. Something's pulling my memories.
Jalen staggered, gripping the console.
Captain, the Keeper's accessing the ship's archives.
Panels flashed rapidly.
Images flickered. Earth, old cities, oceans, forests, human history compressed into shards of color and sound. Mara yelled, it's taking our world's cultural memory. Lyra slammed her hand on the emergency override. Seal archive access. I'm trying.
Mara shouted.
But it's bypassing every lock. Dr. Kale's voice trembled but stayed focused. The Keeper doesn't understand technology, just gravitational patterns. It's forcing our systems to respond by manipulating space-time around the data. Jalen growled, then shut down the entire archive system.
Mara hesitated.
That would wipe half our files permanently.
Do it. Lyra ordered. Mara hit the shutdown.
The lights flickered.
The screens went dark. The pulse stopped.
Tiva collapsed into her chair, breathing heavily.
That was horrifying. Jalen nodded.
If it can pull data that easily, imagine what it can take from our minds. Dr. Kale stared at her console.
We only bought time.
It will try again. The bridge became quiet, too quiet. Then a new message from the Keeper appeared. You resist. Resistance is memory. Memory is nourishment. Lyra whispered, it enjoys the struggle.
The Keeper pulsed again.
Begin the second extraction. A deeper wave passed through the ship. This one was colder, reaching further inside.
Tiva gasped, eyes wide.
It's pulling emotional memory. Jalen clenched his teeth. I can feel it trying to take moments, faces.
Lyra steadied herself. Focus. Fight it.
Dr. Kale activated a hologram showing wave patterns. Captain, I need 5 minutes to complete a counterwave.
You have 2, Lyra replied. Mara struggled at her console.
I can reinforce the ship's grave barriers, but not for long. Tiva whispered shakily. It feels like it's looking through everything I've ever experienced. Jalen placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. Stay with us.
But the pressure in their minds grew stronger.
Dr. Kale muttered, I've studied cosmic anomalies for decades, but nothing like this. It's not alive in the usual sense.
It lives through memory. It doesn't just want facts.
It wants experiences.
Lyra nodded slowly. Which means it needs us alive.
At least for now. Jalen said, that gives us leverage.
Kale looked up.
Captain, if we can send it a false memory, a decoy, something large enough for it to focus on.
Mara blinked.
We can distract it. It's possible.
Lyra stepped forward.
What kind of memory?
Dr. Kale hesitated. A planetary one.
A world that never existed.
Jalen stared at her.
You want to invent a planet?
Yes, she said.
A fake civilization.
Fake culture. Fake history.
If it's detailed enough, the Keeper will try to pull it.
Tiva's eyes widened.
Like feeding it a story.
Mara laughed nervously.
A story big enough to satisfy a planet eater.
Lyra nodded slowly.
Do it.
Create it.
In the ship's memory banks, Dr. Kale generated a new archive, one filled with data never seen before. An entire invented world.
Luminara.
A radiant planet covered in floating islands.
A people made of crystalline light. A culture built on harmony and song.
A history stretching back hundreds of thousands of years.
Wars. Alliances. Triumphs.
Losses. Every detail carefully crafted.
Tiva watched in awe.
It feels almost real. Dr. Kale worked frantically.
It has to.
The Keeper only consumes memories that feel authentic. Mara connected the fake archive to the ship's outgoing systems, ready to transmit it through gravitational resonance.
Jalen scanned the Keeper.
It's preparing another extraction. We have seconds.
Lyra pointed at Kale.
Release the decoy.
Kale pressed the command.
The ship emitted a subtle gravitational pulse, gentle, inviting, full of rich fabricated history.
For a moment, nothing happened.
Then, the Keeper stopped. Its swirling gravitational field shifted. Its fissure dimmed. Its focus turned sharply toward the ship. The message came. New memory detected.
Luminara. World of light.
World of song.
The bridge went silent.
It's working, Jalen whispered. The Keeper's fissure widened. Begin consumption. A massive wave surged toward the ship, not to pull their memories, but to extract the fake world. The bridge lights flickered as the data streamed out. Mara shouted, It's draining the decoy fast. Dr. Kale gritted her teeth. Let it. The more it consumes, the more distracted it becomes.
But then the Keeper sent another message.
Memory incomplete. Where is the heart?
The crew froze.
Tiva whispered, What heart?
Dr. Kale paled. It's looking for the heart of worlds.
The same artifact the ancient civilization hid.
Lyra stepped forward.
It will not find it here.
The Keeper pulsed darkly.
Then I will search deeper.
The ship shook violently. The Keeper's gravity flared.
The pull returned, stronger than ever. Jalen shouted, Captain, we need another plan.
Lyra's eyes hardened.
We're going inside. Everyone stared at her. Mara whispered, You want to enter the Keeper? Yes, Lyra said. If we want to survive, we must find its core, and end this. The journey into the heart of the gravity well continued with a strange mixture of danger and awe. Every world they passed seemed to draw them deeper, as if the forgotten planets were whispering for someone to finally hear their stories. The crew of the Aurora's wing felt both honored and overwhelmed. None of them had imagined they would witness entire lost civilizations, trapped in the cold pull of an impossible force. Captain Orin stood at the main observation window, his eyes fixed on the swirling core of the gravity well. It looked like a storm of stars collapsing in slow motion. But he sensed something else now, something alive. The others felt it too, though no one dared to say it out loud. At the edge of the viewing deck, Lyra examined the readings from her quantum sensors. They had been spiking ever since they passed the singing planet. "The gravity levels are shifting again," she said quietly. "Something is changing inside the well."
"Something is waking up." Juno, sitting at the navigation console, frowned. "Gravity doesn't wake up," he muttered. But his voice lacked confidence. Even he felt the pull of something ancient and watchful. Paya floated into the room moments later, her small robotic body humming softly. She displayed a hologram above her head, lines of strange symbols spiraling around a glowing sphere. "I have translated more of the universal script," she said. "These symbols repeat across all the worlds trapped here. They form a message." All three looked at her with tense curiosity. Paya paused before speaking again. "The message says, 'Do not follow the whisper of the old star. It remembers more than time allows.'" A chill filled the air suddenly. The ship trembled, not from impact, but from a low vibration that seemed to resonate through the hull. The lights flickered. The crew steadied themselves. "What was that?" Juno shouted. Lyra checked the sensors again. Her heart skipped a beat. "The gravity well just released a pulse," she said. "A massive wave of energy. It's like a heartbeat." Orin's expression hardened. "Are we inside a living system?" Paya answered before anyone else could. "Not living in the way you understand, but aware." Another pulse hit them, this one stronger. The ship creaked, and a deep, distant sound echoed through the cabin, like the roar of a star dragged across time. Orin gripped the console. "Hold the ship steady. We're staying on course." But staying steady inside the well was like trying to stand still during an earthquake. The planet of broken clocks. The pulses pushed them toward the next world. A dark, metallic sphere covered in cracks that glowed faintly with blue light. It rotated unevenly, as if time itself had shattered on its surface. Juno examined the scans. "This planet is wrong," he said. "Its orbit breaks and reforms every few minutes. Time is looping around it." Lyra swallowed nervously. "It's a world stuck between moments." Orin made the decision. "We'll land." The descent was chaotic. The timeline around the ship flickered like broken holograms. But they managed to touch down on a cracked plain where fragments of old buildings lay frozen mid-collapse, repeating the same small motions endlessly. When the crew stepped outside, they felt the world stretching and snapping like a rubber band. A building fell in slow motion, then snapped back into place. A shattered clock hovered in the air, its hands turning forward, then backward, then spinning in circles. Lyra knelt to observe the glowing cracks in the ground. "This world wasn't destroyed," she whispered. "It was paused." Paya hovered beside her. "The message on this planet is different," she said. "It says, memory is the weight that bends time. Forgetting is the release." Orin looked around at the frozen ruins. These worlds weren't forgotten by accident. Someone wanted them to be. As they explored the broken planet, Juno noticed something odd on the horizon, something large drifting above the atmosphere. At first, he thought it was debris, but then it moved in a deliberate, almost graceful arc. "Captain," he said, pointing upward, "I don't think we're alone." The others turned their eyes to the sky. A colossal silhouette glided overhead, its shape shifting like smoke through water. It didn't reflect light. It swallowed it. The creature, if it could be called a creature, had no wings or limbs. It looked like a shadow-given mass. "What is that?" Lyra whispered. Paya analyzed it rapidly. "It is not made of matter," she said. "It is a gravity form. A being created from density and space-time distortion." Orin's face tightened. "You mean, the gravity well made it?" No one answered. The shadow drifted lower, its presence pressing on their minds like invisible hands. Orin felt memories stir in the back of his thoughts, memories he had not touched in years. His father's voice. A forgotten promise. A moment of fear from childhood. He shook his head violently. "It's feeding on memory," he realized. "That's why these worlds were forgotten. This thing consumes what people remember." Lyra staggered, gripping her temples. "It's taking something. My sister's face. I can't." "Back to the ship," Orin shouted. They ran as the shadow descended, its form vibrating with silent hunger. The cracked planet trembled, its frozen loops breaking and dissolving.
They reached the Aurora's wing just as the creature reached the surface.
Orin slammed the hatch shut. "Launch!" he shouted. The engines fired.
The ship lifted off moments before the creature's influence reached them again.
A sinister realization.
Once they were safely away from the world, Paya revealed the final symbol she had decoded. It appeared above her in glowing golden light.
A spiral surrounding a single eye.
Under it, the translation read, "Beware the keeper of the gravity well."
Orin stared at the message.
"So something controls all of this," he said quietly. "The well, the forgotten worlds, the memory-eating shadow."
Lyra nodded slowly.
"And it knows we are here." The pulses from the core grew stronger, like the heartbeat of an ancient titan waking from a century of sleep. The gravity around them trembled again.
Paya's lights dimmed.
"The Keeper is aware of our presence," she said.
"It is calling us." There was no turning back now.
They were heading deeper, toward the center of the forgotten universe, and toward the being that ruled it. The deeper the Aurora's wing traveled into the gravity well, the more the universe around them grew strange and unrecognizable. Space twisted into spirals, light bent around invisible walls, and moments stretched into long echoes that repeated themselves like memories attempting to return. For the first time, the crew felt small, not just in size, but in meaning. It was as if the well was peeling away the illusion that they understood anything about the cosmos. Captain Orin stood in silence at the front of the ship while the starscape melted into a long tunnel of shimmering blue and silver. "We're entering the inner rings," Lyra announced, her voice thin with disbelief. "Nothing here follows the laws of physics. Space is folding like paper."
Juno watched the maps glitch and reform back into different shapes.
"We're flying blind," he admitted. "Everything I chart changes the moment I look away." Paya floated between them, her lights flickering.
"The Keeper is preparing something," she said. "A test."
"Or a message." The ship vibrated gently, like a breath drawn in the dark. They had arrived. Ahead of them stretched a vast maze, a swirling corridor of floating fragments, broken planets, and drifting structures. Some pieces looked ancient, carved from stone older than light. Others were metallic, sharp-edged like machines from forgotten futures. The maze was enormous, spiraling toward a distant glowing point, the heart of the gravity well. "Is that," Juno whispered,
"a path?"
Orin nodded once. "It wants us to follow." The moment the ship entered the labyrinth, the fragments around them shifted, rotating and locking into new formations. It felt alive, adjusting itself as they advanced. Lyra stared at the nearest floating stones. They pulsed softly with symbols. "These are memories," she said. "Each stone, each fragment, is a piece of a world's past." Paya confirmed it. "The Keeper gathers them,
stores them,
arranges them into a path that only memory can navigate."
Juno's eyebrows rose.
"A maze made of history."
Orin took a slow breath.
"Then we walk through history." The labyrinth's first chamber opened into a vast hollow sphere. Inside it, glowing silhouettes wandered endlessly, echoes of people long gone. They did not see the crew or react to their presence.
Lyra watched them sadly.
"Are they ghosts?"
Paya shook her head.
"Not ghosts. Imprints. Strong memories made visible." One figure stood out, a young girl sitting at the center, drawing circles in the air with her fingertip.
The circles glowed and expanded before dissolving into nothing. She repeated the motion endlessly. Orin approached slowly.
The girl's face tugged at something buried deep inside him. "Paya," he whispered, "why can I feel familiarity?"
Paya's senses glowed softly.
"This memory belongs to someone connected to you. Perhaps a forgotten moment from your world."
Orin's pulse quickened. The girl raised her head for the first time. Her eyes glowed with starlight. She spoke a single sentence.
"What you forget becomes the Keeper's." The chamber shook. The echoes dissolved into sparks of light. The trial was over. The next chamber was darker. A world of endless night stretched below them as the ship hovered above its surface. No stars shone in the sky. No moon. No light except for a faint blue glow on the horizon. Another memory world?
Juno asked. Paya scanned. This one is different.
Not a memory, an erasure. Something that was completely forgotten. As they descended, cold wind swept across an empty landscape.
No ruins. No people. No signs of anything that ever lived. Lyra shivered.
It feels hollow, like a world that never had a name.
Orin touched the ground.
This is what total forgetting looks like.
Paya nodded. The Keeper destroyed every record of this place. Even the universe does not remember it. Suddenly, the ground cracked open beneath them.
A deep voice boomed through the chamber. Not spoken, but felt. Will you forget yourselves, or remember what must be carried? The crew scrambled back to the ship as the world collapsed, dissolving into darkness. At last, after passing through echoing chambers of memories and forgotten timelines, the Aurora's wing reached the core of the labyrinth. It was a massive sphere floating in emptiness, woven from threads of pure gravity. The light around it ripple-shifted like liquid glass. Inside it, a silhouette stood, tall, unmoving, with a presence that sent chills through every nerve in their bodies.
Orin stepped forward.
That's the Keeper. As they drew nearer, the silhouette shifted, forming a shape almost like a human.
A face without features. A body without texture.
A being made of gravitational threads, wearing the faint outline of countless forgotten worlds. Paya translated the symbols floating around it. It calls itself the Archivist of Absence.
Juno exhaled sharply.
What does it want with us? The Keeper lifted its head. A voice echoed in their minds, a voice older than galaxies. You carry memories that do not belong to you.
Orin froze. Lyra's breath caught.
Juno felt his chest tighten. You crossed the threshold, the Keeper continued, and now you must choose. To remember what should be forgotten, or to forget what keeps your worlds alive. The sphere of gravity tightened around them, pulling them closer.
They had reached the point of no return.
Ahead of them lay the final truth of the gravity well, one that could shatter their universe or restore what had been lost for eons. The Keeper, the Archivist of Absence, stood motionless at the center of the gravity sphere, yet its presence filled every corner of the chamber. It wasn't just a being, it was the embodiment of forgetting, the guardian of all things erased. The crew of the Aurora's wing hovered before it like sparks in the shadow of a star. Captain Orin felt the weight of the Keeper's words echoing inside his skull. You must choose. To remember what should be forgotten, or to forget what keeps your worlds alive.
He stepped forward.
Explain, he demanded. What does this gravity well really do? Why are these worlds trapped here? The Keeper shifted, its form rippling like a reflection on disturbed water. Worlds decay, memories fade, civilizations collapse, and time erases what it cannot hold. Its voice was like a gravitational wave, felt more than heard. I preserve what must be forgotten, so the universe can continue without breaking.
Juno swallowed.
Forgotten, on purpose. Yes.
Lyra shook her head.
That makes no sense. Why erase a whole planet's existence? The Keeper extended an arm made of trembling gravitational threads. Images flashed around them. The destroyed time-looping world, the echo chamber, the hollow planet lost to darkness.
Some worlds became unstable. Some created wounds in time.
Some held memories powerful enough to tear the universe apart.
Paya processed this rapidly.
You remove them to protect reality. Protection is a form of mercy, the Keeper replied. To forget is to heal. Orin stepped closer.
And what about the shadow that chases us? The thing feeding on memories.
Is that also your creation? The Keeper paused. It is, a fragment of me.
Lyra's eyes widened.
A part of you. The hunger. Its voice dimmed. I cast it out long ago, but it grew strong on the memories I collected. It now consumes what was never meant to be touched.
Juno clenched his fists.
So the forgotten worlds, the lost civilizations, some weren't supposed to be erased. The hunger took them. The Keeper's form flickered. Yes. Paya floated forward, analyzing the trembling sphere around the Keeper. You're damaged, she said. The gravity well is collapsing because you can no longer control the memories stored inside. The Keeper lowered its head. I am dying. The chamber fell into profound silence. The Keeper stretched out its shimmering hands. You carry memories untouched by the well. Strong. Dangerous. If you keep them, the hunger will pursue your worlds forever. Lyra felt her throat tighten. And if we forget them?
The Keeper's answer was soft.
Then your worlds will be safe.
But you will never remember what brought you here.
Your journey, your discoveries, the forgotten worlds. All will vanish from your minds.
Juno stared in disbelief.
You're asking us to choose between our memories and the safety of the universe. Yes.
Orin's heart pounded.
He thought of his home,
of the people depending on him.
But he also thought of the little girl drawing circles in the echo chamber, someone tied to him in ways he still didn't understand. Lyra whispered, "If we forget everything, it'll be like this never happened." Paya added gently, "But the forgotten worlds will remain intact inside the well.
Nothing we learned will survive outside." Juno slammed his fist into the console.
"There has to be another way." But the keeper remained still, silent, heavy as a collapsed star.
There was no other way.
The memory chamber. A soft glow spread beneath their feet as the keeper summoned a new space, an enormous chamber made of swirling light and shadow. Inside it, rivers of memories flowed like streams, each one glowing with the history of a world, a life, a moment forgotten by the universe. "Enter," the keeper commanded.
"Decide."
The crew hesitated at the threshold. Orin looked at his friends. "Whatever we choose together." Lyra nodded through tears.
Juno clenched his jaw. Paya dimmed her lights solemnly.
Together, they stepped into the memory chamber. Instantly, visions engulfed them. Flashbacks of every world they had visited, every danger, every wonder.
The singing planet. The broken clock world.
The endless night world. The shadow of the hunger descending.
The keeper waiting at the core. The girl with starlight eyes whispering.
What you forget becomes the keeper's. Orin felt the memories pulling at him, tugging like warm hands trying to pull free.
"This is everything we are," he whispered.
"Everything we've learned."
Lyra reached out and touched a glowing memory stream.
"If we let go, will anyone ever know these worlds existed?" Paya answered softly, "Only the keeper."
Juno closed his eyes.
"Then the forgotten worlds will be forgotten forever."
But before they could decide, the chamber shook violently. The keeper's voice roared in their minds.
"The hunger is near." A shadow tore through the outer walls, howling without sound. It had found them. The creature burst into the chamber, its body an ocean of darkness twisting through the memory streams. Memories evaporated wherever it touched.
Worlds flickered and vanished.
Whole histories burned away like paper. Orin shouted, "We have to choose now."
But the hunger struck first.
A wave of shadows slammed into Orin's mind. Suddenly he saw flashes, his childhood, his mother's voice, his first launch into space, fading at the edges. Lyra screamed as she felt her sister's face slipping from her mind again. Juno collapsed, clutching his head, fighting to hold on to something, anything. Paya's lights flickered violently as the creature tried to erase her entire memory core. The keeper moved forward, threads unraveling from its body.
"Choose.
Save yourselves, or save your memories." The hunger rose like a storm, ready to devour them all. Orin looked into the glowing rivers of memory. Then he looked at his crew. He made his choice. The memory chamber shook as the hunger roared, tearing cracks through the glowing walls. Rivers of memories twisted in panic, lighting the chamber like scattered stars. The keeper struggled to contain the creature, but its strength was fading, its gravitational threads unraveling like old cloth. Captain Orin steadied himself against the pull of erasing shadows. He could barely see through the dark fog, but he could still feel the presence of his crew beside him.
Lyra's voice cracked with fear. "Orin, decide."
"If we don't choose now, the hunger will take everything." Juno held onto a dissolving memory stream, watching it fade through trembling fingers. "I can't lose everything again. Please, tell us what to do." Paya's lights blinked weakly as she processed collapsing data. "My core is destabilizing. I cannot hold much longer." The keeper raised its fading hands.
"Choose.
Forget, or remember."
A final quake shook the chamber.
The hunger released a soundless scream and lunged at them again.
Orin closed his eyes.
He knew the answer. Orin stepped forward, pushing past collapsing strands of memory. He reached toward the keeper, not toward the river of forgetting, but toward the threads still pulsing with gravity.
Lyra gasped.
"Orin, what are you doing?"
He looked back at them, calm at last.
"Neither option is enough. If we forget everything, the worlds die forever. And if we keep everything, the hunger follows us home."
Juno frowned.
"Then what's left?" Orin touched the keeper's flickering form. "We don't choose for ourselves. We give the memories back to where they belong." Lyra understood first. Her eyes widened with hope.
Paya processed the idea instantly.
"You want to return the forgotten world's memories to the well itself. Restore what the keeper lost."
Orin nodded. "Yes."
"The well can heal only if its memories are complete again."
He looked at the keeper.
You hold pieces of everything, but not everything. Let us complete you.
The keeper trembled. This has never been done. It may destroy you. Orin stepped closer.
We'll take that risk.
The keeper hesitated.
Then, slowly, its form opened, like a star splitting apart, revealing a core of swirling light. Orin shouted over the rising storm. Everyone, grab your strongest memories. The ones that matter most. Lyra held her memory of her sister, small, soft, glowing like a promise. Juno held the memory of his first flight, his hope, his pride. Paya selected her first moment of awareness, the instant she chose to think, not obey. Orin held the memory of the starlit girl drawing circles, the one memory the well had no right to erase. Each memory glowed like a tiny sun in their hands.
Now! Orin commanded.
Give them to the keeper. They threw their memories into the keeper's open core. Instantly, light burst from its body, massive, blinding, beautiful. The memory chamber exploded into waves of radiance. The hunger shrieked as the light struck it, unraveling its body thread by thread. Its darkness melted like shadow under a rising dawn. The keeper absorbed the memories, their memories, and something changed inside it.
It grew brighter, stronger.
Whole. When the light finally dimmed, the crew lifted their heads. The keeper now stood tall and radiant, its once cracked threads woven together into a perfect, stable form. The gravity well around it no longer shook with chaos, but hummed with balance.
The hunger was gone.
Completely dissolved.
Paya scanned carefully. The anomaly is neutralized.
The well is stable again. Lyra clutched her chest. But, our memories, did we lose them? The keeper stepped forward, its voice calmer than before.
No. You gave me pieces of yourselves.
And I have returned them. Each crew member felt a warm sensation spread through their minds. Their memories returned, but lighter, clearer.
Juno gasped.
It didn't take them, it repaired them.
Orin let out a relieved breath. The keeper bowed its head. You restored what billions of forgotten worlds could not.
You chose remembrance without fear. The walls of the memory chamber opened, revealing space, peaceful, unstretched, whole. The keeper extended its hand, opening a shimmering corridor leading out of the gravity well.
Your journey continues.
But now, the forgotten worlds are safe. And so is the universe you return to.
The crew made their way back to the Aurora's wing. Lyra looked back at the keeper.
Will we see you again?
The keeper's voice echoed softly.
When memory needs guardians, I will call you.
Paya floated beside Orin.
Captain, would you like me to log this mission?
Orin smiled.
Yes, every part of it.
Juno chuckled.
Even the parts where we almost got erased. Especially those, Orin said. They are proof that we survived the impossible. The engines glowed as the ship prepared to leave.
The final memory.
As the Aurora's wings soared through the restored corridor of space, Orin walked to the observation window one last time. Below them, the gravity well shimmered like a star reborn. Lyra joined him. Do you think anyone will believe us?
Orin shook his head gently.
Maybe not.
But the forgotten worlds live on.
And so do we. Paya turned, her lights bright and steady. The memory will never leave the keeper.
And it will never leave us. Juno entered, smiling.
So what now, Captain? Orin watched the stars unfold into clarity.
Now, we go home. And we remember.
The Aurora's wings shot into open space, a small ship carrying the memories of countless lost worlds, and the hope of a universe no longer afraid to remember. The gravity well faded behind them like a quiet, eternal heartbeat.